Hi y'all, it's Hidden Hoarder. I'm back. Today it's Monday. I need to be more productive than I was the past week. I really didn't want to do this anymore, but I have to finish what I started. I just got started and I'm excited to keep going. Right now I'm just removing all of the hundreds of name tags that they would give me at the hospital. I would put it on my shirt, and after I leave I would come home after a long night and take it off and just stick it on the dresser. And so that's all of my information, and then you can see my name and stuff like that. So for the sake of the video purposes, I'm just taking them off. But a lot of people would say, like, you should talk about your story, tell your story. But I always felt like when it came to my son, being that he was here a little less than 2 years, like a week or two. I'm sorry, what am I talking about? He was almost 2 when he passed. And people would tell me, to heal, to tell my story. But my story does not begin where my son's life ends, if that makes sense. So where do I start? Where do I start? I struggled with starting for so long because who is my audience? Who am I talking to about this? And I didn't want to come in front of the camera like a storybook. Once upon a time, I had a baby and I didn't want to do that. I felt like that was too storybook. So what I'm doing now feels more real, feels more natural. There's no pressure. It's just like working and talking. And this stuff is really hard to come off because it's been stuck for so long. But yeah, I didn't know exactly who to talk to. But losing him taught me the life that I did not want to go back to. Who am I? What was I doing before I got pregnant with him? Y'all, is my nose showing? I kept feeling something. I know I kept feeling something. Look, it's just God is saying, girl, take this mess off, okay? Every day you leave off the hat, you leave off the glasses, you leave off the mask. One time you lost your glove, now your nose is showing. Next is going to be my mouth or my eyes or something. It's too much. But I was able to discover more of who I was. Just knowing that, okay, what kind of life was I living before I got pregnant with him? Now, what kind of life do I have to go back to? A lot of the things I did not want to go back to. Now, in one of my other videos, I talked about how I became a chef, right? Put myself through culinary school by working nonstop, 60 hours a week, day in and day out, afforded to go to the culinary school. I cropped that part out of my last video because I just didn't want to. I think I was just so focused on revealing who I was. But anyway, so put myself through school and graduated, and I started working in the restaurants. So from 2018 to 2020, I was working in restaurants and I became an essential worker because I needed to do massive catering. Remind you, all the restaurants were closed. So I had to cater almost every single weekend. So I was at the top of my career. And everything was shut down. So I was like the only one on the roads driving in the streets. And I loved it. I loved it. Cooking inside people's homes, catering, meal prepping. I ended up cooking for some basketball athletes, professional NBA players. Like, I was living the life. And at that point, I thought, I could move. Me and my daughter can get us a place to stay, and I could finally be free. But I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, my life took a turn. I didn't think, I thought, okay, go have the baby, come home with the baby, and still move. God did not design that part of my life to work out like that. So with him being in the hospital, it was more like, hey, you have to stay where you are. You need people there because he's going to have all these breathing machines and tubes and stuff like that. So you're going to need lots of help. So I agreed to stay, thinking, okay, he'll come home and we'll work it out. He never came home. We never worked it out. So a lot of what I'm finding in here, all the things that I see and find, I've never even seen it. I've never even opened it. I've never even touched it. I've never even knew who bought it, where it came from. I just know it's there. So when you see me grieving or crying, oh, I found a bear. It's like, oh, I never even knew this bear has been buried for 3 years. I don't even know how I got there. But I had tunnel vision. And since I had tunnel vision, I was only focused on him. I agreed to stay here. And when he passed, it hit so hard that I didn't care about life anymore. I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to travel. I quit my job. I stopped working. I didn't even want to live. Most of the days I did not want to live. But here I am. And so, whew, with that being said, I had to figure out, where do I go after this? You know, I took all of 2024 to grieve. Where do I go after this? Like, what do I do now? I don't want to go back to cooking. I can't stand on my feet. My body is different. It hurts. I'm in pain, so I'm constantly leaning over, resting, stopping. I'm losing control of my mind. Like, I'm just losing it. Where do I go? But when I looked at my resume and where I came from, it was constantly poor, dead-end jobs, bars, nightclubs, you know, waitressing, cooking. I didn't have nothing on there worth having to be able to go back to something lucrative, you know, just something that paid off. And in the restaurants, you work long hours, all night. So I'm like, I need to figure out who I am, who was I, and who do I want to be at this moment in my life? Who do I desire to be? Had a lot of things to figure out. So now, as a grown woman, I'm like, I was living a life that was pretty much survival mode. I was surviving. If I didn't have money, I had to go. If I needed something, I had to go. Like, I was always going. But now that I quit, I don't have no money. All I have is faith. No job, no clients, no nothing. Nothing. But somehow I still made it through. Not even somehow, through God. Okay, God's grace. I made it through. Everything I needed, He provided. Some way, somehow. Days I didn't eat, days I couldn't park. I couldn't pay to park. But God made a way out of no way. I was able to keep my car. You know, I was able to do things that I didn't think I would be able to do. And I'm still getting these things off the dresser. So now I'm realizing at this age, I don't want to live the fast life anymore. I don't want to live unintentionally anymore. I don't want to be in survival mode anymore. I don't want to grieve silently anymore. I don't want to feel this pain anymore. I don't want to live in this clutter anymore. I finally get to create a life worth living. I'm not the young teenager I was when I was out here carelessly living. Wild child. You know, I had my daughter. Had her when I was 18. So that set me back because now everyone hates me. Now I'm such a bad person and I'm disobedient and I'm all these things, you know. So I realized after my son passed, wow, I didn't have no real guidance. I didn't really have nobody mentoring me or teaching me nothing enough to stay out of trouble or, you know, keep me under control or even warn me, encourage me. Like, it was just me out here doing whatever I thought was the right thing to do. Whatever I thought was necessary. Whatever I thought, you know, when you're young, you just think you know everything. And eventually you learn the hard way. And I learned many hard lessons. Being out late, drinking, you know, driving while I'm drunk on the way home from work. You know, that's not safe. That's dangerous. I wouldn't recommend that to nobody. But you get so immune to it to where you know, okay, you got to pace yourself. So anyway, all the good discoveries came when my son, when I lost him, because it's like now God is showing me who He created me to be. Everything that I knew I was, everything that I knew I could be, all the ways I had to speak up and advocate for him, I could speak up and advocate for other people, young children, young girls. You know, I could help NICU moms. I could help women going into labor or like women with preeclampsia. I can do so many things, and it's like I have the voice now because God gave it to me. He unlocked it with my son because now he can't speak for himself. You have to speak for him. So it was always me against the doctors, always me, you know, back and forth, always me with these ideas of give him this, do this, helping them help him. And they didn't like that, but I wasn't backing down for the sake of his life. And for the most part, it helped. So I'm proud of what I did for him. And like someone said, he lives through me. Yeah, he lives through me. His spirit visits me every day. He's my angel baby. And he showed up for me the same way I was showing up for him. And as you can see, this ain't even the half of it. This is just a portion of it. I ran out of space to stick them, so I just stopped. But yeah, I am definitely happy and eager to be growing through this and to be finally changing. Because if I knew now I mean, if I knew before what I know now, I wouldn't be in this. But if I knew this before, I wouldn't have known how to grow through this experience, if that makes sense. So everything happens in divine timing when it's supposed to happen. Everything happens when it needs to. Gratitude is where I am, is where I need to be. Because guess what? The lesson will repeat itself until you get it. Until you get the lesson, it will repeat itself. So I wasn't getting the lesson. I wasn't understanding that you got to manage your money. You got to stop drinking. You got to slow down. You got to, protect yourself. You got to do all these things. And I didn't get it, right? I didn't get the lesson. So the lesson kept repeating itself. Then I finally got it. Oh, now I get it. Now I can break the cycle. Now I can stop it because I finally get it. So if you don't get it, it's going to keep happening. If you don't see it or understand it, you're going to keep feeling it. You got to understand that the lesson will repeat itself until you get it. So get the lesson. Get the lesson and take it for what it is and use it to the best of your abilities. So yeah, these tough lessons I'm learning, I'm getting them. And I'm grateful to be getting them. But let's clean, y'all. I'm ready to clean. Today I'm eager to clean. So let's get to it. So imagine having everything laid out for your baby. I mean, everything you could think of he had. And you can't bring him home. He never came home, never saw a day outside of the hospital for 2 years. And so, look, this is brand new. And so, when I find his things, like, y'all don't even know, like, I had a whole baby shower, right? Didn't really want to have it, but my family talked me into it. And so, wait, that's heavy. They talked me into it. And so I did it, knowing that he couldn't use the stuff at the time in the hospital, but I brought it all home. And in the hospital, he wasn't able to wear clothes or anything. So at the baby shower, I just kept all of his stuff in the bags that he came in and sat it to the side. To this day, 2 years later, I still have not looked in those bags. I don't even know what people bought anymore. I don't remember what is what. And I also didn't show y'all that pile. Like, it's a section downstairs where all his stuff is. I didn't even show y'all because I knew it was going to make me sad. I still have to face that moment of looking through it all. Like, not to mention when you have to keep your loved one's things and you know exactly what it is that you're keeping. I've kept my son's things, don't even know what they are. I have them, don't even know what's in it. What is this? A bag of polish and nail stuff from the 99. But yeah, kept all of his things and don't even know what's in it. Now, I'm not opposed to giving it away or re-gifting it or selling it. It's just that I have to connect with what he had before I can truly release it. I know someone talked about the things being material, but I just want to breathe. I honestly just want to look at it and think about it and cry over it and release it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to learn to release the emotions that we feel. Where's my trash? I think it's right there. We have to learn to connect with the emotions instead of hiding them or suppressing them and trying to cover it up and say, I'm not feeling sad. I'm not feeling upset and angry. Yes, you are. And it's okay. If you need to cry, cry. And I know I need to cry. I know I want to cry. Is that crazy to say? Like, you want to cry? Yes. Yes, I want to cry. Yes. I want to feel. Didn't I just get this shit from somewhere? I want to feel every emotion tied to the loss. So that in my happiness, I could just be grateful. I just want to rejoice in all the work that I've done because I am breaking these habits by teaching my daughter the same things that I'm trying to overcome at the same time. Look, it's a band-aid right here. I was so attached to my baby. I kept his band-aids when he would get shot. Something to just be connected to him from afar. That's really insane. Like, it's so much coconut, MCT, all powder brand new. Like, it's crazy. Look at all the things. Kosher salt. Look at all the things. What are these? Wine tumblers. Plastic wine tumblers. My gym workout bag. I tried to start going to the gym thinking it would help, but it just spiraled me back around in a circle. Oh, I can't even get it. Let's clean, y'all. I gotta put this camera down.